hit record. Let's get it going. It says it's recording. I don't hear her telling me it's recording, but it says it's recording. So Rachel Foster and I met, Rachel, I don't even know how many years ago it was. And Rebecca was part of a franchise in computer technology. So I thought I was a geek until I met Rebecca and then Rachel. And my geekiness went way down. My brain, I think I'm a geek, but so I asked Rachel, we've stayed in touch. I've been in Atlanta to see you if I'm traveling. I have to go by and have lunch, and she gives me a tour of Atlanta, but she's got a new business. And I was super excited to invite you, Rachel, to come join us and speak to these lovely ladies in our network group. So I'm going to turn it over to you. You should be co-host. You should be able to share your screen. And yeah, I'm excited.
Thank you for the introduction and thank you for the invite. And it was lovely to hear about all of your businesses. I want some cinnamon rolls. I want some scones. I would love to help you, Rebecca, volunteering for First Lego League. I'll jump on a plane. I won't, but I would love to help you. And Deb, I think it was 21 years ago that I bought my Computer Explorers franchise.
Wow.
So it's been a minute. I'm going to talk a little bit about me. Let me share my screen so we can get into the presentation, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about myself. Give me 1 second. And I'm going to actually turn off my video so that for the recording, my face isn't covering any portion of the screen. And if someone can just give me a thumbs up and confirm that you can see my presentation screen. Okay, thank you, Rachel. All right, so today we're talking about networking smarter, not harder, and how to stand out in the digital age. So let me first start by telling you just a little bit more about me. So I am a 35-year veteran. I'm moving my Zoom controls out of the way here. I'm a 35-year veteran of the tech industry. Actually, it's longer, but when I say the real number, people focus on looking at me and trying to figure out how that's possible. So I'm just like, I just go with 35 years because I'm just a lot older than I look. So I'm a 35-year veteran of the tech industry, which is why Deb said that her geekiness went down because I've been doing it forever. So by the time I bought the Computer Explorers franchise, I'd already been in the industry for 20 years. Or 15 or 20, I don't remember. Let's see, if it was 21 years ago, yeah, it was probably about 15 years I'd been in there. So anyway, so I am a technology coach and consultant. So I have a new business. Well, my corporation has existed since 2015, but I recently rebranded and launched a new brand called Imperfect Genius, where I do technology coaching and consulting explicitly for women. And I do brand consulting, content creation, web design, much more technical training, project management, lots of other things. Basically, if it's technical, I probably can help you with it. Well, that's not true. Don't ask me to come fix your television or your computer. Well, people always ask me to like get rid of their viruses on their computers. I could do that, but that's not one of the things that I do. That's for the Geek Squad at Best Buy. But I also host the Imperfect Genius podcast, which is a podcast where I talk about all of those things that I just mentioned. I interview founders, women founders. I interview people who are working in the tech industry. I just have interesting conversation. I talk to some of my former colleagues just to talk about things tech or things business, or sometimes just things like imposter syndrome, which actually leads me to how I'm going to introduce the topic for today. So I'm going to introduce this topic to you by telling you a story. Last year, I was invited to be a presenter at the Grace Hopper Celebration in Philadelphia 2024 conference. And Grace Hopper is the world's largest technology conference for women. So to be honored with being a presenter was very prestigious. And not only was, being selected was being, as a presenter was, like I said, a prestigious honor, but it was also an excellent opportunity to generate leads for my business. So as I was thinking about, my presentation, I just spent, months preparing my presentation and thinking about my presentation. And then when it got close to the date, then I started packing. And because I mentioned this was going to be in Philadelphia, so I was going to have to fly from Atlanta to Philadelphia. And when I started packing, then the question of how many paper business cards should I pack? That became the question of, well, how much space do I want to take up? Because I should mention, let me back up. I used to be a consultant in corporate America, and I used to travel for a living. So for many, many years, I used to fly to client sites every Monday and fly home every Friday, every week. I did this, rinse and repeat for years. So as a result, I learned how to pack very light. Like I can pack for a week with like an overnight bag. I pack very light. So when I was preparing for this trip and I was trying to decide what was going to go in the suitcase, paper business cards are bulky and I was like, how many do I take? It's a huge conference. I think there's like 35,000 women at this conference. How many do I take? So I was thinking about that. And here's the thing. I'm a techie, but I'm also a woman of a certain age. I came up in the age of corporate America when engraved and personalized business card holders were considered prestigious. And honestly, I still kind of like engraved business card holders, if I'm the truth is. But so that was sort of my mindset, and that's been my mindset for a long time. But then I started to think about my audience at this conference, and it's basically Gen Z. So I estimated that a large number of the attendees at this conference were going to be recent college grads that were going to be early in their careers. And actually, it turns out I was only sort of right. Actually, there was a large number of people at this conference, women at this conference, who were actually still in college. Their schools had paid the scholarship for them to go because the attendance fee for this conference is ridiculous, like $1,500 just to get a ticket to this conference. So there were a lot of college students there who had scholarships to go to the conference. And then there were a lot of women who were very early in their career. So I started thinking about that. And I was like, plus it's a technology conference. So even older attendees and other presenters were likely to be very tech minded. So I said, okay, you know what? I don't think that handing out paper business cards is gonna be perceived as on brand for a technical consultant, right? In fact, especially for these Gen Z folks, it was probably going to look a little bit, I don't know, prehistoric. I might as well have been handing them in an engraved bone and saying, "Here's my contact information." So like I said, I'm a techie, but I'm a woman of a certain age. But I knew that I had to adapt to the digital age, and I had to adopt what's now called the digital handshake. So I needed to start using digital business cards. So what is a digital business card? In case you don't know, a digital business card is a type of file format that's used to electronically share your contact information. It typically contains the same information that you have on your business card, your name, your phone number, your email, but because it's electronic, you can have other things. You can have your photo. I mean, you can have a photo on your physical business card, but you can have your headline. You can have links to, key sites, things like that. It just gives you a little bit more information in the technical age to be able to disseminate that information to the person that you're passing your information along to. And it's become the preferred way to exchange contact details because it can easily be imported into most traditional contact management systems and apps and in email platforms. They are they can be purely virtual, like just an app and information on your phone, a contact card on your phone, but there's also some that have a physical component. So you see in the upper right corner on this slide, the dot card. So, and that's not the only one, that's just the example that I put on the slide, where it's a physical card. It looks like a credit card and it's got a chip in it, just like, today's credit cards now have the chips in them and you can tap to pay. Well, you can just it has near field communication where you can just tap and that gives that info, puts that information, that contact information in the person's phone you just tapped with. So you can have it purely be virtual or you can have a physical version of it. So when I was deciding what I was going to do with regard to going to this conference and how I was going to present myself digitally, I had to decide, well, which one am I going to use? If I'm going to use the physical versus the virtual, and if I go with the virtual, and all of them have subscription services. So it's like there's Popple and Hi Hello and Blink and Unicode and all these other ones, and they all charge, well, most will have a free version that, sort of like what's the the drug dealer thing, like the first taste is free. Like they give you just enough that you get hooked on it. And then you want to do things like use your own branding. And they're like, oh no, if you want that, you got to pay us $96 a year. So they charge you to be able to use the features that you actually want to use. The free version is just like, oh, look, I have a digital business card. But when you actually want to start using it for business like marketing and integrating with your CRM system or using your own personal branding, then they start to charge you. And so I'm just I don't want to call myself cheap. I'm frugal. And I was objecting to the idea of having to pay a subscription fee forever because it's a monthly subscription. I think you get a discount if you buy it yearly. It's a monthly subscription and it's just forever. And if you stop using it, then you no longer have a digital business card. So I was just really balking at the idea of paying somebody to do something that I thought was fairly simple. And so I thought, well, you know what? I'm a techie. I think I can figure out how to duplicate this functionality with tools that I already pay for. I already had a website, I already had a mailer list and a CRM. So I already had systems that I was paying for, and I just could not justify paying for a subscription service. So I decided that I'm going to set out to create a replacement. And so that's what I did. So I created a replacement and I went to the conference. I had a wonderful conference. It was amazing. And it was the digital business, my self-made digital business card was a big hit. Whenever someone would scan my QR code and my contact information would pop up on their phone, they'd say, "Oh, that is so cool. How'd you do that?" And then I'd explain it. And then because I tend to be Deb can speak to this. I tend to be a little bit overly detailed and technical. And so once their eyes would glaze over, they would just go, well, could you just like send me some information or tell me how to do that myself? And hence the idea of building a course was born. So basically after I'd explained it all to them, they'd say, okay, a course or something like that would be really great. And so not only though, here's the important part for this conference. Not only was I distributing my contact details with my website and my LinkedIn profile, and it had my own personal branding, but I was making a memorable impression and I was actively generating leads because I actively had people asking me for more information or asking me to help them do something. So, and that's the whole point of networking. That's the whole point of going to conferences and doing things like that, right? Is to make a memorable impression and to actively generate leads. So, I was asking myself, what's the longevity of paper business cards versus digital business cards? And here's the thing I can tell you. I have roughly somewhere between 12 to 15 physical paper business cards that are in my purse right now from businesses or people that I thought I might contact in the future. And honestly, I don't think I've looked at them in months. Some of them I probably haven't looked at in years. However, I have about 72 open browser tabs on my phone for products or services that I plan to purchase, because I scanned a QR code. And admittedly, that's a me problem. That's a bit excessive. I do not recommend that. But what it does allow me to do is when I'm in my browser on my phone, I can search for a keyword, something that I remember seeing once, and I can search for the keyword and I find that tab and I go back to that website and then I can make the purchase. So I don't know. I mean, everything changes, right? So I don't know how long I think paper business cards still have a purpose, still have a use, but I think that going forward, you need to be able to at least do both, have a digital presence as well as having a paper business card. So when we talk about making the shift from the paper business card to the digital business card, I think there are three very important components. You have the digital business card, you have as business owners, you should have a website, and then you've got a LinkedIn, you should also have a LinkedIn profile. And what those three combine to create is you have your digital business card is giving you a fast way to exchange information and save it to someone's phone. The website should have the full story and be able to capture your leads. And it's more information about your business, capture leads, get email addresses, whatever it is, however you're capturing your leads. And then your LinkedIn profile provides the social proof and the credibility of what you're providing and your expertise. So your card is the gateway, the website tells the story, and LinkedIn adds your credibility. And so combining those three gives you that sweet spot in the middle where you're now in the digital age and you are using technology as a way to boost your business and to grow your business. So, what am I talking about? Let's do this together. Let's walk through the process and see it in action. So, take out your phones, or if you're on your phone, you might not be able to follow along with this. I'm trying to think of, because I know we've got a couple of people who are on Zoom via their phone. Actually, if you know how to take a screenshot of your phone and you take a screenshot of this presentation, then that photo, you should be able to tap on a link when you see the QR code. If you're using your phone to scan, if you've never scanned a QR code, point your phone at the screen, take a picture, or sometimes you don't even have to take the picture. You can just hover and there will be a link that pops up that, because basically it's going to understand that this is a link. So when you tap on that, it should take you to a website. And I'm going to leave the screen up just for a second to let people have a minute to do that.
Rachel, you still talk a mile a minute.
I know, I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. So I'm going to jump in here. I love that I could scan this from a presentation, and
Yes.
yes, you're right there on my phone. So it's kind of like, it's a QR code, but yeah, very cool. And
Thank you.
I have other questions when you open it for
Oh
questions.
yeah, I'm gonna stop to ask questions in just a second. Well, actually, you know what? Let's do that while people are scanning. Go ahead and ask your questions.
So we as a network go to booth events, and
Mm-hmm.
Kolek is in charge of that. She does a great job, and we have a binder that has all of the members in there with a QR code, and people can scan it. Question for you. Could I do a digital business card for Mountain Women in Business in general that would go to well, we have a LinkedIn, we have a Facebook, we have a
You don't, yeah, the short
Instagram.
answer is yes. You don't even have to have all of those things. I was just recommending for individual business owners to have all those things, but you could absolutely have a digital business card for Mountain Women in Business, have a QR code at the booth, and when they scan that, it takes them to whatever page on the website that on the Mountain Women in Business website you want them to go to.
Right, right. So, so
The,
then that way we could share the QR code with anybody that's at the booth. We still have our binder that has the individual members' information. But if when someone says, well, tell me more about Mountain Women in Business, then we have our own card.
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
so
and
I
well,
have a
and
question.
in that case, I'm sorry, somebody was trying to say something.
Oh, no, go ahead. And then I have a question.
Yeah, I was gonna say in that case though, Deb, I don't even know that you need a bit. So when we walk through the next steps, you'll see what I mean when I'm talking about whether or not you would need a business card per se for Mountain Women in Business. You may just want a QR code for Mountain Women in Business, but not necessarily a business card. And I will explain that after we go through the next steps. It'll make more sense. And then Cynthia, you were gonna ask something?
Yeah, so when I was looking at I scanned your QR uh, on the screen and it says, please provide your contact information if you would like to download my digital business card. Um, so I mean, obviously some people will have no problems doing that, but what happens with that information? Does that information come back to you for you to utilize later? Because I see down lower that it says, but you can subscribe if you want. So what happens with that information that we give to get your business card?
That is a great question. So I'm going to bring up well, actually, I don't want to change off of my presentation. So let me answer the question. I'm very visual. I was going to bring up the web page. So when you see that image on your screen, because are you looking at it on your phone right now, Cynthia?
Yes, so
So
I've
each,
got you up, I've got the meeting up on my tablet and then I pulled you up on my phone, the
okay.
digital card.
So to your point, you're right that some people may not want to immediately download or do anything that was going to, actually put the contact information in your phone, which we're going to walk through those steps in just a second. If that's fine, if they don't want to do that, that's fine. At the very least, they now have your information on their phone. They can save that tab. And also, each one of those pieces of information you see on my digital business card, so the phone number, the website, the email address, if you long press on any one of those, you long press on the phone number, you can call it. If you press on the long press on the website, it goes to the website, which you're already on the website. But my point is, each one of those individual pieces of information is active. So they don't even have to download anything. But what you're
Okay,
trying to do, the goal that you want is you want them to have your phone number, your information, your contact card in their phone, in their contacts. So that's where the next steps come in. So for those of you who, if you actually fill in the form, oh, the other thing that I was going to say to your point, Cynthia, is I didn't originally, when I went to the conference, originally I did not have the part where I was capturing their information. I just had the image of the contact card and a button that said add to your contacts. And so literally they would go to the website, they would see the image, they could just add me to their contacts, which is the next step if you actually fill out the form now. But what I realized is that I was giving away my information, but I wasn't collecting it. I wasn't capturing leads. So that's when I added the form that said, well, okay, well, if you want my information, you got to give me yours first. So you fill out the information and you, if you want to, you don't have to do this now. But if you want to, if you fill out the information and you click on the button that says download, what's going to happen on your phone, it's not actually going to download. It's going to immediately open up your contacts. Now, the screenshot that I've got on the screen right now in the presentation is from an iPhone. If you're on Android, it might look a little bit different, but I'm going to talk you through if you want to save my contact information, how that would happen. So first you would, when you fill in the form and you click on download contact, it's going to pop up your contact app and it's going to show you the contact information. And then if you scroll, again, it's for an iPhone, if you scroll down to the bottom, that was like really fast, but there was a little video there, but if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, for iPhone, it says create new contact. On Android, I think that you have to, I'm trying to remember the steps for Android. For Android, I want to say you have to, I think you should get a prompt that tells you that you can open the file in your contacts app. I don't have a screenshot for Android. But if you choose to, you can save that you would click on create new contact. It would show you the contact information again. You click done, and now that card is in your phone, just like any other contact in your contacts list on your phone. So now that your information is now in your phone. But to your point, Cynthia, they don't have to do that step. They can just have your information and just have that the website or whatever and never take the next step. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to have them have your information in their phone, similar to them putting your paper card in their purse. You want them to have it with them always. Well, not always, but
Yeah.
you know what
Yeah.
I mean. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Did I
But
fully
Yeah,
answer?
the
I
nature of my
downloaded
business.
it on
Go ahead.
mine and I didn't have to actually do another step. And I go to search for you in my contacts and you pop right up now.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah, it's different depends on like the version of iOS you've got and the version on Android. And so like, some of the steps
Yeah.
sometimes vary, but it's very quick. They scan it, it pops up, you save it to the phone. Simple, theoretically. That's the way it's supposed to work. Somebody else was saying something while you were saying that, Rebecca. Was somebody else saying something? I thought I heard someone else talking. But so as you can see, though, having a digital business card isn't just about tech, it's about making a connection that sticks. So now, for example, Rebecca now has my contact information in her phone. She scanned the QR code, it popped up, she saved the contact, and now when she wants to call me and ask me to help her with first Lego League, she's got my number, she's got my email address. It's right there in her phone. I'm in her contacts now. So we're going to move on to a short group activity, but this is the point where I plan to pause to ask for questions. So let me ask for any other questions. By the way, feel free to interrupt me at any point in time. As Deb mentioned, I have always spoken a mile a minute. I don't know why. I just talk really fast. Actually, I do know why. The reason is I always have so much information I want to share, and I'm always conscious of people's time that I think if I just speak a lot faster, I can get more information in the amount of time that I've got. All right, questions. Rachel, are you raising your hand?
Yep.
Okay, yes,
I have
Rachel.
a question.
Oh,
Wait.
mine's not really a question, just a quick comment.
Sure.
I'm of a certain age also, and I'm not very techie. And it was just this past year, even this is great information about these business cards because I never thought about that. I just have a box of 1,000, that I ordered from wherever. But it's just been the last few months that I finally broke down and got the Venmo Q card and the Zelle QR code or whatever to put on my table when I'm doing events. I would have missed out on hundreds of dollars of tips because no one carries cash anymore. And so me, along with everyone else, all these new tricks are becoming very helpful, and I appreciate all this information. I never even thought about digital business cards. I didn't know that was a thing. So this is awesome. Thank you.
follow up on that regarding people not carrying cash anymore. So speaking of, when I was taking this trip to Philadelphia for this conference, and the guys at the hotel, it's a long story, my room wasn't ready, et cetera, et cetera. The folks at the hotel were really nice. And I haven't carried cash since 2020. And so I had no cash, and I had no cash to tip the porters, the guys who were dealing with my
Oh,
luggage at the hotel. And I told them, I was like, you know what you need? And they were like, you should create that. I was like, on your badge, there should be a little QR code where I can just cash app you like your tip. I was like, I can just scan the
Mm,
QR code and send you a tip. And they were like, you should really, I think it was Marriott. They're like, you should call Marriott and tell them they should do that because so many people don't carry
I
cash
should do
anymore. We
that.
miss out. Yeah, we miss out on tips. Sorry, Cynthia, you
That's
said you had a
awesome.
question.
And oh, sorry.
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Rachel. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just gonna say I talk fast too because in my big huge family, when we were around a dining room table, you couldn't get a word in edgewise unless you fought for it. So I'm following you just fine.
Love it. Love it. Well, keep in mind, it's being recorded, so you guys can watch it all back. All right. Sorry, Cynthia. You said you had a
Oh,
question.
please don't apologize. So I've had an iPhone for a while, and I don't know if this is something that you know, but I'm guessing by your display of brilliance that you probably do. That is there a way that I can put all of my business contact cards? So like I just downloaded yours. Is there a way to put them all in one spot or in one category? So I'm not scrolling through all my family and friends and stuff like that, trying to remember where my business contacts are.
Oh, absolutely. You can create groups and you can store, like, I've got lists on my iPhone. I've got, advisors and, women in business and holiday cards and medical. And so, yeah, you can have business contacts as a list on your phone.
Oh, okay. I will talk with you later to figure out how
Yes.
to do that. But
Not
that's
a
good to know
problem.
Yeah,
because
I never
that was
done it.
my one hesitation when you were talking about this, that I'm like, I can't, I have enough problems trying to keep my clients separate from all my family stuff. So um, it would be
Right.
helpful to be able to go, okay, this is the group I'm looking for. At least I know I've narrowed it down to the group.
Well, and if there's time at the end, I can do a quick demo and show you.
You're my favorite person today.
Yes, please,
Awesome.
so I can learn too.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. Did anyone else have a question before we go to a short group activity? Okay. So for those of you who pulled up my contact information, you may have noticed that at the top of my digital business card, I've got a short headline that says, I help women entrepreneurs. I don't even remember what it says. It says, I help women entrepreneurs embrace technology so that they can grow their businesses with confidence. So I just want to do a group exercise. If you were to create your digital business card and you wanted a simple headline to put at the top of your card, what would it be? I help who do what so they can, and what's the result you want to for them to achieve. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds to draft your one-liner, and then I'm going to take volunteers to share theirs.
We're never this quiet.
Well, so people can concentrate. And I didn't actually time it. Look, I'm thinking, has it been 30 seconds yet? I'm going to give it a few more seconds. I see Rebecca furiously writing. Okay, who wants to volunteer to share their headline?
Nobody, come on, people. I will if nobody else will.
All right, Rachel, we'll take it.
I help people be creative through art and make happy faces for all.
Ah, I love it. I love it. That's memorable. Anyone else
The
interested in?
last part's kind of tagline for years, just for inclusivity and all of that. I put the all in caps.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Deb, I saw you unmute. Are you going to
I have,
share?
Jackie's ready.
Oh, go ahead.
sure. I help seniors downsize their home to lead to more financial freedom. I could probably make that simpler, but
Wait, say it again.
That's
I
good.
help sing. Yeah,
I
no, I
help
like.
seniors sell their homes, resulting in more financial freedom.
Oh, yeah, no, that's good. That's good. And it's a good hook because that's the thing. People are they want to know, what are you going to do for me? Like, what is the result you're going to give me? The financial freedom, that's the last two words you say. Like, that's awesome. Love that.
I help people be well, live well, so they can die well.
Oh,
Whoa.
that's beautiful. Thank you, Mary Pat. That was good.
Welcome.
Anyone else?
I'll share mine.
Okay, Beth.
I help women find health so they can rediscover themselves.
Oh, nice.
That's-
I have a menopause story to tell
Yay.
you, but what
Oh,
not here, not
everybody.
now. It's a lot. Anyway, I love that.
I'll probably be setting up a couple different ones. So today I'm
Okay.
all focused on the first Lego League. So under that business, I'll be tagging it. I help first Lego League teams across Colorado organize for the season and set up tournaments for them to compete.
That's good. And you know what? You bring up a good point, Rebecca, because that's the beauty of a digital business card. Because it's digital, you can change it frequently. So unlike paper cards where you print out 1,000 and you're stuck with that tagline, you can change it seasonally. You know, for an
Yeah.
electronic version, you can just change it seasonally or whenever, however often you
Or
need
some,
to.
and some of us have different multiple businesses. So it's cool if you're at this kind of event, you can do one thing, or if you're at another kind of
Right.
event, you can do another thing. That's
Yeah,
a
I'm
great
so tired
idea.
of carrying multiple business cards in my wallet and trying to decide which one to hand out.
Right, exactly, exactly. Yeah, so like you said, you have a different QR code for depending on which event you're attending. All right, so so I just wanted to, as I mentioned, when I was doing this presentation or when I was at this conference and I was sharing my QR code with folks and they were like, oh, that's so cool. Can you show me how to do it? And so I got the question so many times and then someone said, you should really create a course to do that because sorry, I had my computer on Do Not Disturb, but apparently it expired. Sorry, I was getting a call. Yeah, so many people asked me about it that I decided to create a course to do it. Unfortunately, it took me forever. I had a lot of other things I was doing for the business ahead of it. So it's just now going to launch in September. It's a self-paced course. You can access the course materials at your own pace. However, I'm running the course as cohorts because I want to be available to do live workshopping sessions and provide personal guidance for each of the individual attendees. And I'm limiting the number of participants per cohort. So the first cohort is going to run September 30th. And I have an online community. I'm doing it in the community space because I believe in community-centric learning spaces. And so that way we can help each other, we can lift each other up. So if you're interested, by the way, you can use the promo code MWINB, Mountain Women in Business 2025, for 20% off the registration fee. Just know that if you register now, you'll just be on the approval on the wait list until I release like I said, I'm limiting the number of folks who can attend. So about a week before, once I'll release it and approve it, and then that's when you would actually get access to the course. Again, it starts on September 30th. And just to wrap up, I just want to say that I have been working in technology professionally for over 30 years. Actually, it's been 40, but again, I don't want folks to get hung up on the numbers. And the only thing that's consistent about being in technology is that it's ever changing. And frankly, I find that very annoying. But, we can fight it or we can embrace it. And here's the thing I know. Real meaningful connections can change everything, and networking is about making memorable moments. So make your identity unforgettable. Thank you so much for your time. And if you missed the QR code earlier, or if you just want the traditional list of my contact information, you've got it there on the screen. And again, any other questions anyone has, I will be happy to take those. I'm gonna stop my sharing.
And I'm gonna
Thank you
stop.
so much. Whoops, sorry.
All right, I'm just gonna stop the recording so we can chat. Okay.
Thank you, Rachel.
Okay.
That was wonderful.
Thank
You're
you, Rachel.